This is Jeff Kohler, aka The Option Addict from optionaddict.blogspot.com, here to share my weekly watch list. And today is Tuesday, the 18th, which means it's Fed Day. So all future profits or lack thereof rest on the easing or non-easing of monetary policy today. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, when the verdict is out, I plan on getting long in some very interesting areas this week. So without further ado, allow me to get started. First, I'm going to share my insights here on CLB, which is Core Labs. Nice little ascending triangle that broke out. I happen to be in a trade on this one, but what I like is that there's about a 14-point price target on this, which means it should trade up to about 128. So right here with the stock price at about 117, I know it's opened up a little bit higher. I still think there's some easy to manage risk here without waiting for a retest. So CLB, a nice little breakout, and a stock that casually grinds higher. Next, I've got Constellation Energy, which is ticker symbol CEG. I love this price action here. I love this coil winding up really tightly. Right here, we're looking at about a, what is it, about 12-point move or something like that, 79 up to about 88, so excuse me, 9-point movement. So a pretty big move to one direction or the other, and I think we're going to have to wait until the decision later on today to decide which way this puppy's going to move. So keep an eye on CEG. In the home builder sector, MTH is yielding a beautiful descending triangle. We'll have to see exactly what happens from here. Keep in mind high implied volatility, which means it might be tough to get puts on a stock like this, but don't rule out a short sell, even though it might not sound like a great risk reward. Home builders are struggling. Maybe you just carry this over into XHB and just trade the ETF, but it's another playoff of weakness in that sector. Next, I'm going to look at ticker symbol CNS, which is Cohen and Steers. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll really call this a pattern necessarily. I mean, if you want an answer to why this is on the watch list, originally it was just kind of a nice little double bottom, which means I'm waiting for it to break about 36 before I take any action. But it stopped going lower, which means it's kind of put on my radar for a potential reversal. I'm also going to add to that FLIR Systems, FLIR. I'm going to show you a nice little symmetrical triangle here when I can get the right tool going. There we go. So looks a little something like that. Pennant, symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. To me, we're looking at about a 7-point movement here on this stock. So just waiting to see how and when it breaks out. I like this one here. Next, a big time reversal on Given Imaging, GIVN. So here's my neckline. There's my shoulders. Got a head up here. So you can see there's a pretty good looking reversal potentially in store here. Measuring from 25 up to about 32, a 7-point reversal, which should take this thing down to about 18, which would create a 52-week low. We'll see what happens. I'm also going to put Rowan back on the map, RDC, and it's getting pretty weak here recently. And I like to play off of the little descending triangle here. So measure this one from about 40 to roughly 36, 35. 4 to 5-point movement on this stock, which is great for a $30 company. Next, LDSH. Got to move pretty quickly here. I want to try to fit a lot in today. Ascending triangle, simple as that. If you look at this guy here, mixes up to be about a 6-point move when it breaks. So that's LDSH. DVA. So the long-term breakout, I've been talking about this one, had it on my radar for a long time. Well, it finally happened. I expect it to consolidate a little bit here. As you can see from the 5-year, this is a pretty big breakout. So what I'm doing is I'm watching it to consolidate here, looking to add to a position on a flag breakout. But if you weren't blessed by the recent price action of DaVita, that might be a trading signal you watch for to get along some calls. HCC is what's next, the insurance holding. You can see I've got a nice little symmetrical triangle drawn out here from high to low. We're talking about a 4-point movement if it breaks, so I'm watching it. HST, Hotel Resorts. So not taking into consideration this lower open at 19. Again, I'll switch over to a line chart and we'll make that thing disappear. So when you go to the line chart, you can see there's a nice little symmetrical triangle here. The hotel and resorts, kind of a playoff of weak real estate. You can see the downtrend intact. Depending on some of the verbiage used today, this thing might snap back a little bit lower, so I'm just keeping an eye on it. Ralph Lauren, you want to get a reversal in retail. I'm watching a nice little inverted head and shoulders here with a action point of a break above 80. I'd like to see some volume along the side too. So we'll see what happens with Ralph Lauren. Monster has been one that's been on the docket for weeks here. Still waiting for a break of 32.5, but good size descending triangle in action here. ESL, ascending triangle, no doubt, clear as day. AEM, want to get into some of the minors. Watch AEM as it flags back towards its breakout point of 46. You can also look at some of the realty stocks like Avalon Bay. You'll notice there's a nice little triangle here. You can also go to Boston Properties, BXP. See kind of the same thing here. Big time coilings. I mean, we're talking like 15-point wide on Boston Properties here. So there's some pretty good movement if these break to one side or the other. Now, if I'm going to squeeze in some other trades here, I'm probably going to go to just some other support and resistance ideas, waiting for breakouts. Shadow was one that I took, but I was hoping it would pull back a little bit today, so it would offer a better entry point for those that missed. Also looking at Air Products, APD. It's getting pretty close to its highs, and you can see there's a little bit of strength here because it keeps turning higher. So not really a pattern per se, but I'm watching this because it's been a pretty strong player. So keep an eye on it. Also, if we're talking stocks at resistance, how can we not mention Autodesk? So watch this thing as it approaches 48. If we get a positive reaction today, Autodesk is something I want to get long. So from a Master Talk presentation a few weeks ago, CNQR was a pretty great play, but we're establishing some resistance here at 28, so therefore another entry point for those that are watching it. Wait for a break above that level. OIS in the energy field, you can see trading right back towards its highs. Wait for a breakout of about 44.5. Schnitzer. So this steel stock is starting to show some movements here. And I think 63 is kind of the action point here. I'm going to watch it as it gets close to that level. But definitely some strength in that area. Let's see, ENR. Trading up towards its highs. Watch for a breakout. This is a great trade a while back for those of you that remember this bad boy right back here. Led to some pretty big movements in that stock. Hopefully we ride it again. WCG, WellCare back on the map. There we go. So here we can see some higher lows. We're approaching some of our highs here at about 105. Not really a pattern. Again, these are non-pattern related, but I'm watching these stocks trade towards their highs. Just things that I have on my watch list, watching for breakouts and such. LAFC, well, looking for a pullback here. Looks like it's already off to the races again, so might have missed over that one. BOBJ, Business Objects. Another stock trading towards its highs. Watch it. A positive move today. We might see a pretty big breakout. What about stocks to the downside? DRIV, right at support. A negative reaction today. This is something you might want to get short. Same thing with UNT, which is trading near its lows. Right here. Watch for a break below about 47.5. Next, we'll look at BCO. Brinks, same thing. Relative weakness. And UPL. I don't know if this thing's ever going to break, but it keeps looking like it might. So that's UPL, and then Public Storage, still on the radar, still no break. So whether it breaks to the upside or the downside, I'd like to see some kind of an action here, because I think this thing has the potential to move. So got a couple other stocks I'll throw on the radar really quickly. Let's move fast. NVS, looking at a resistance play, simple as that. COH, same thing, stock bearish play, turning down from some lower highs. I'm also going to throw GES out there. Retest of that support line you can see right at about 46. And KSS, which has turned down nicely in this downward trend. A couple of bullish ideas. VMI for a possible support bounce and a re-entry. CNQ, which is breaking out and retesting. If you want to get long some Canada. VSEA, Varian Semi, retest. Simple as that. Seagate Technologies, STX, higher highs, higher lows. That is a trend. Juniper, not a real volatile stock, but how can you not be long this amazing trend? It just keeps going. Celgene, I bought this dip, and I love it. I'm proud of myself. CVD, there it is, breaking into some new highs. Well, maybe get a better entry point if you wait a little bit longer. ISRG, you have to buy this dip. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. NVIDIA, NVDA, same thing, a little pullback, beautiful trend. And finally, some pharmaceutical, VRTX, another dip. That's been it for the Option Addict, folks. Thanks for watching. Take care.